Today on the show, it's a Q&A video, so you sent me Q's and I'm gonna give them an A. First, I asked for questions on my YouTube story, which you can only see if you hit the notification bell. Wow, I feel like such a YouTuber. Raheem Hussein asked any plans to do a Marvel's Runaways seasons 2 and 3 impressions and recap video? Yes, I am actually planning on doing a recap of seasons 2 and 3. I was actually thinking on doing a whole series review video, like seasons 1, 2, and 3. I have been watching a lot of it and I have notes on every single episode, and I sort of realized I have enough notes to make a full series recap. At the same time, I might take my time with this because I also want to do a whole video essay spinning off from that about how I feel about them basically cancelling the series to make way for the Disney Plus shows. Maybe my mind will change once I start seeing the Disney Plus shows, but at the moment I don't really agree with that business decision. I think it would have made more sense to keep at least Runaways and Cloak and Dagger to bring over some existing fans of Marvel TV shows, because I do know a few people that only watch the Marvel TV shows and they don't pay attention to the Marvel movies. What I will say, just to give a mini review of Runaways Season 3, my favourite thing about Season 3 is it just uses magic as magic. It doesn't say magic is science. There is one clip where a slightly unreliable character says that magic is just science we don't understand yet, which it's not. Science is a way of cataloguing the universe, magic is a way of communicating with the universe. Two completely different things. But again, the one character that said that is sort of smart but unreliable, so we can just kind of brush that off and just sort of act like he didn't know what he was talking about in terms of magic, because also he'd never really been familiar with magic prior to this point. Overall, I do feel like Runaway Season 3 is what the show should have been from Runaway Season 1, and it just wasn't, obviously. That being said, I still love Runaway Season 1 and I'm happy with what they made. I just would have preferred it if it was more like Season 3 to begin with, where they embraced the core of the source material. Corey McGivney said, what is your favorite and least favorite adaptation of a superhero outfit? Least favorite, hands down, anything and everything to do with those X-Men movies. I hate the X-Men movies with a passion. All of you know this. If you're new here, I hate the X-Men movies. All of those costumes in those movies were just terrible and should stop existing. What I love about the X-Men is the individuality, the bright colors. In the X-Men animated series, you have a glimpse at each character in the intro sequence and you see their costume and a bit of their power and their facial expression. And from that, you know exactly who that character is. You know, you see Cyclops screaming in pain as he loses control of his powers and he's trying to suppress it. And you just kind of know, okay, he's the leader archetype that's not necessarily made to be a leader, but he's trying his best. You have Jubilee sort of finding joy in using her powers, which are all in multi-colors, and you realize she's the young naive one. Like, you know who every single one of these characters are. In the X-Men movies, they just put everyone in black all the time, and that just doesn't work for the X-Men because ultimately, at the end of the day, mutants are trying to celebrate their individuality and how their powers make them individual. You kind of take that away when you put them in a uniform. The movies themselves did majorly strip all of the characters of their personalities. I didn't really particularly find any of them lovable like I find the X-Men lovable, and it's for this reason I probably won't go and see New Mutants if I'm honest. The other reason I probably won't go and see New Mutants is because they did whitewash Roberto. If you don't know, Roberto is a mutant. He is from Brazil, and his powers manifested when he was being called a half-breed because he is half black. My favorite costume is Captain America because Need Some Help asks, honestly, I just want to know what's going on. Honestly, there's been a lot going on. Number one, my mental health hasn't been in the best place, if I'm honest with you, but I found that taking time away from YouTube has made things worse now, and I need to come back, because what I found is rather than taking a break and using that break to recover, I'm now sort of just wallowing and I'm allowing my problems, I guess we'll call them, to win. And that's not okay. And I'm getting frustrated at myself and I'm getting angry at myself. And when I get angry at myself, my anxiety starts to take over, which ultimately stops me from making videos, which is not a good thing. It's not the goal. I just need to get back into YouTube and I'm sure I will recover over time. But at the moment, being away from YouTube, it's not helping anymore. so I need to come back. My History of Emma Frost video is finally filmed as well. I had to refilm it in 1080p, but if you subscribe to my Patreon after this video is live, you should be able to hear the audio preview of the first page or so of that script. So yes, please go and check that out if you want a preview of the History of Emma Frost, because I'm very proud of that video. Christina5753 asked, what is your favorite comic book event and favorite graphic novel? My favorite does change quite a bit, but Watchmen is up there. Alejandro Jodorowsky's The White Llama is up there. As for comic book events, it depends on the type of event we're talking about. If we're talking about an event that just tells a straightforward story, I guess Children's Crusade, Dark Phoenix Saga. If we're talking about the type of event that happens in the middle of summer and then it interrupts all the other comics, and then your favorite comic, just looking at you, A-Force, gets cancelled because it doesn't do well in the event, I don't like those, because A-Force got cancelled because it didn't do well in an event. And of course it didn't do well. The event interrupted the story people actually wanted to read. Stop interrupting stories for events. It's dumb. But you know, the best sort of event of all time is Phoenix Saga into Dark Phoenix Saga. I guess you can't really call that an event because it took a long time, like a really long, like that would be a really long event. If you are curious about the Phoenix Saga and Dark Phoenix Saga, Danica did a whole series called Epic History XMen. Please go and check it out. She tells the story way better than I ever could. On Instagram, Dante99 asked, what are your thoughts on Henry Cavill playing Wolverine in the MCU? So here's the funny thing. This was literally debunked just as I was about to make this video. I even quote tweeted it and like said my thoughts on it there. But I'll just talk about this a bit more here because I do have quite a lot of opinions on this. The thing is, if you read the comics, you realize that Wolverine is chubby, he's 5'2", he's unattractive. All the things that Henry Cavill is not. Like, you could bring Henry Cavill home to meet your parents and they'd be like, wow, can we date him too? You don't want that from Wolverine. Like, this is why it's such a big deal that Jean Grey, who by the way is supposed to be gorgeous, like stop people in the street gorgeous, that's why it's such a huge deal that she would go for a guy like him. Like, people don't get it because Wolverine is so angry all the time. He's like emotionally unattractive. He's physically unattractive. Meanwhile, Scott, for the most part, he has his shit together. He's over there. He's a leader. He's really attractive. He's got a great butt. Like, you would obviously bring Scott home to meet your parents. Henry Cavill could play Scott really well. He couldn't play Wolverine. With all of this being said, I've said it once, I'll say it again. I don't think it's necessarily important to have named actors play comic book characters, because at the end of the day, these comic book characters are bigger than any actor living or dead. Batman is bigger than Robert Pattinson. Superman is bigger than Henry Cavill. That is the T. These characters don't need the marketing from a named or popular actor. You could hire anyone to be in that role and people will fill the seats. The X-Men are bigger than any actor you could name right now. You just kind of have to make a good X-Men movie that gets people excited. That's the problem with Dark Phoenix. It didn't even look exciting from the trailers. It looked bad, and it was bad. So for example, a semi-unknown actor that I would cast as Jean Grey, arguably she is quite known on the internet space, but she's not like a AAA celebrity, is Anna Arcana. I think she would make a perfect Jean Grey. I just look at her and I see Jean Grey. I do think there is too much hype around who will play this character, who will play that character, let's fan cast this, let's fan cast that. Because at the end of the day, that does feed into the celebrity culture, and that does give the people in charge of marketing the idea that they need to cast named actors in these roles. And it makes them forget they're making a comic book movie, and at the end of the day, these characters are icons, and icons are bigger than humans. Finally, before I end this video, I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone that's been really, really patient with me while I've been sort of in this weird state. I know I've said that before, and I know a few of you are going to be like, the Lion, the Witch, the audacity of this bitch, but still, thank you for all of you that have been patient, and thank you to all of you that didn't comment things like, Faust, there is this book, you've got to read it. It's going to make you recover overnight. Because honestly, when people comment shit like that, I just want to deck them, and I'm a pacifist. But like I said earlier on in the video, I feel like being away from YouTube is affecting my mental health more in a negative way now than it is in a positive way. And I kind of I need to get back on board with being positive and doing things that help me in a positive way. So I'm fixing my diet again. I'll admit my face is a little bit round right now. It's not difficult for me to fix, especially because I'm not the one in charge of my diet now. I've got a trainer and a meal plan. So that'll be fixed within a few weeks. But yes, I'm back on board. I'm fixing things. I'm getting better. And I found systems to help with my anxiety. So I'm trying some things to help deal with the anxiety, and I've been trying something recently. I'm not gonna name it, but I've been trying something recently, and I will update you on how it goes. But the first week using it, I feel like a different person. Clearly, because I'm back now, posting a video and not being anxious about having a round face. And I know my face isn't that round. I know it's not like a fucking circle. It's just, you know, eating disorder makes you think that you have a moon head. And I know I don't. That jawline doesn't come from a moon head. It's super effective! Okay guys, that is it for today. So do you have any questions for me or opinions on the questions I answered? Please let me know in the comments down below. Also don't forget to thumbs up, subscribe to all of my social links. Also don't forget to check out my Patreon if you want a preview of the Emma Frost video, or check out my Etsy if you just want to support the show and buy some merch. But for now, my name is Faust, this has been Exploring Comics, and it is super effective.